Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 33.7k subscribers. Can we get to 34k by the end of the month? Please like this video down below and comment down below before we get started. But today we have to talk about two very key battleground states that have basically had a lot of polls out saying Trump's underwater. We got to take a look at these polls. We got to analyze the polls and basically just see where Trump is at in these Sunbelt states, North Carolina and Florida. We're going to be looking at some maps that I've made. I think I've shown you guys the maps before briefly, but we basically can analyze them at a bigger length today. So anyways, North Carolina had a poll from basically a leaning Republican polling firm that had Trump up by 7, and I was very skeptical. And there were leads in the PPP for Biden. Biden actually was beating Trump, I believe, by 1 in PPP, and usually that means that Trump would be outperforming that by 3 or 4 percentage points. However, I would also expect him to be underperforming the Republican poll by 3 to 4 percentage points. So as you guys know, I've done States Poll. This is a different website I've found that does a similar methodology, Strel's Presidential Election 2016.wordpress.com, and right now it analyzed Trump's job approval by party and properly weighted the poll as it should be weighted. So Trump right now has a 15% approval rating among Democrats. I'm assuming a lot of those 15 live in the western part of Appalachia, North Carolina, but a 94% approval rating with Republicans. That's very good news for Trump. He's still very, very high in his own party. Independents is looking to be like a toss-up. Trump is with 47% of independents. 53% of independents say that they are not on board with Donald Trump. So basically right now he's got a 52% approval rating in the state, of 48% disapproval. As for Trump versus Biden, 16% of Democrats actually are supporting Donald Trump in the state of North Carolina. I'm wondering if some of those could be an increase in black vote support. Potentially, if you look at what happened after the stimulus checks, things like that, he might be polling temporarily at least a couple percentage points higher, as well as, again, you have the white Democrats in Appalachia. That's mainly what that 16% consists of. 93% of Republicans support him. That could be an error, sampling error, or there just is 1% of the Republican Party that would actually like Trump but still back Biden for some reason. And the independent vote is relatively split, 43-47, still anybody's game. So the poll originally, I believe, had him down 1. When you properly weighted it, Trump was actually winning by 4 percentage points. And this is exactly what I would assume. This is exactly what the Civitas poll probably showed. I haven't seen anybody weight it properly, but it probably would show up Trump up by 4. Trump beat Hillary in the state by roughly 3 percentage points. And I'll show you guys the North Carolina map. It is trending in different directions. There's some areas like Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, suburban Charlotte, that are trending probably in the Democrat column and are going to trend again 5 percentage points. Oh, God forbid I say trend. Oh, the mafia, they'll come after you for anything in the elections world. You know, you say swing, you say trend. I've seen them interchangeably. Usually when you talk about trend, yes, you do talk about it relative to the nation as a whole, but I basically did a swing map, and trend and swing, they are synonymous with each other in the thesaurus, and Atlas and a bunch of other outlets have used trend in this context, so I don't want to hear it from people saying, oh, you don't know what trend means, you don't know what swing means. Okay, enough. We're done. We're past that. But basically, the swing or trend or whatever it was in the suburbs and the rural areas, I think Asheville included in that congressional district, trended significantly into Trump's column, into the Republican column, and this is going to continue to happen. And if you look at the special election for North Carolina 9 and North Carolina 3rd, you saw a similar trend. They're basically offsetting each other, making it still lean R for now. That is until all the transplants from Metro Detroit and South and Central America come into North Carolina. That's going to change the makeup, and that could make it bluer in the future. But right now, Trump is really not at risk of losing the state of North Carolina. As I said here, the polarization of the trends is going to make the states competitive. Again, districts, I like to use districts because districts have usually a very similar number of population in them. And basically you had 2 districts trend Dem 5 to 10. You also had 5 districts, I believe, trend Republican 5 to 10 for comparison. You had 3 districts trend blue 0 to 5, and you had 3 districts trend Republican 0 to 5. Yes, there is a little bit of gerrymandering going on. I think they're redoing the map for this election cycle. So Republicans could end up losing a couple seats out of default there, but that's another story for another video. So basically, and this also shows Thom Tillis is beating Cal Cunningham, despite the poll showing otherwise, saying Tillis is ahead 47.3 to 46% in the state of North Carolina. However, Roy Cooper, who's more moderate, definitely more moderate than most of the Dems on the national scene. In North Carolina, they love their moderate Democrat governors. They've had Bev Perdue, they've had Mike Easley, now they have Dan Forest, and they like him. Overall, he's winning by roughly 9 percentage points, 9.1%. So it's going to be a fight. I think Forrest will narrow that margin a little bit. I think more independents could come home to him at the end of the day. But Roy Cooper outperformed Hillary, and he's probably going to outperform Cal Cunningham and Joe Biden by a significant margin. Personally, I think Trump will win the state by like 3 to 4. I think Tillis is going to win, but I think he's going to win by like 1 to 2. It's going to be a tilt margin. And the governor's race is probably going to go Dem by at a minimum 3 to 4 points. But that could change. I'd really welcome anybody to sit back and change my mind on this issue. So that's very interesting. Out of Florida, we have a new poll out of Florida. This was a strange poll because you had Biden destroy Trump among seniors. I don't think that's accurate. I don't believe that will be the case because Trump won them by 17. Scott and DeSantis won them by a similar, very, very large margin. So I think that the poll is a terrible poll. And I'm not saying it because it's a left-wing poll. I'm saying it because it's a bad poll. Back in 2018, Ron DeSantis and Rick Scott were losing by 7 points in their final poll. I believe that was in late October, maybe early November, and they both ended up winning over Andrew Gillum and Bill Nelson, respectively. So basically, I think that it's a weak poll. I think it's a very weak poll. It's like the left-wing Rasmussen or another Politico morning consult type of thing. But in this poll, basically, when you weight it by party ID, Trump has a narrow approval rating in the state of Florida. In this poll that had Trump down by 4%, it wasn't typically that bad, but they still had Trump down by 4%. Approval handling the coronavirus was relatively even split. Was even split in this poll. But however, the majority of people think that Trump would do better than Joe Biden when it came to the issue of the economy. And Trump actually, when you actually weighted the poll properly, Trump was winning 49.3 to 46. So they either polled too many women that were over the age of 65, or they polled too many Democrats who were over the age of 65. Either way, I still think that Donald Trump is going to hold the state of Florida. Right now, we can look at my Florida map that I made. I made this about a week ago. So you did have a lot of districts in Florida actually trend Dem. A lot of these city areas, this one up here in Duval County, some of these ones in Miami, that actually might drift back, by the way. But the majority of the congressional districts were in rural or suburban or exurban areas in Florida, like exurban Tampa and Pinellas County, suburban and exurban Tampa. Trump did much better there than I believe Mitt Romney did back in 2012. And the Panhandle, again, you look at the Panhandle. These trends are not going to slow down. They weren't really that prevalent. Trump is not maxed out by any means in the Panhandle. The main reason why people think the Panhandle trended so much to the right was because the Republicans flipped a congressional district there and that they came in at the end of the night and pushed the state to his column. That's not necessarily to say that they trended the most Republican in the state. Also, Trump's popularity and the Republicans' popularity could be increasing in places like Miami-Dade County and the Cuban vote and things like that. If what we saw from the midterms is accurate, if Trump can improve there in those counties, he's probably going to win the state. They love incumbents in North Carolina. They love incumbents in Florida. What we saw in 2000 was that Bush won the state by roughly a handful of hundreds of votes, like 500 votes or so. And then he turns around and he wins it by like 400,000 votes. He wins it by 5%. Trump could win it by 5% in the best case scenario. I don't really believe that he will. But if you look at Bush and Kerry right now in May, Kerry was trailing Bush by a few points. Same thing Trump is doing with Biden. So you never know. There's a long, long way between now and the election. Trump has a very good chance to win Florida and North Carolina. I believe he will win both. He needs both of them to win, actually, and I do believe he will win both. Both actually went red in the midterms in terms of the House races, so that is a benefit for Republicans. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, join the Discord and subreddit, join the Patreon, and subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.